Welcome parents and kids. We're here again for another version of our video tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at how to draw equivalent fractions. It is important for boys and girls to see how an equivalent fraction changes, not just using the big one, just numbers. We want to be able to see it all in a drawing. So today we're going to look at some equivalent fractions for 2/3. So the first thing that boys and girls, we've taught them to do is we never use circles. We're always going to use rectangles. Circles are more difficult to look at. So I've steered them away from using circles. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw a rectangle, and we're going to draw the fraction, the original fraction that we're going to do, which is 2/3. And I'm going to color in my 2 out of 3 parts. Then I tell the boys and girls that they can split it up any way they want to. We can find any equivalent fraction at all by using a big 1. So let's say I want to use the big 1, 3/3. We already know that 3/3 is equal to 1, and if I multiply a fraction by 1, we're going to get the same fraction. Of course, if I multiply by 3/3, it's going to split my fraction up in different ways than if I multiply 2/3 by 4/4 or 10/10. So if I multiply by 3/3, what happens is we split our fraction going horizontally. So I always tell the boys and girls to make their original fraction up and down, and then our second fraction, or how we're splitting it up, we cut it like brownies. I always say cut it like brownies. Some of them want to cut it this direction. I don't want them to do that, because they're not going to be able to see both 2/3 and the equivalent fraction if they do that. So if I'm splitting it 3 ways, that means I'm going to cut each of these pieces into 3 parts. So I have 2 in my denominator that are shaded. And if I split it into thirds, each of those 2 pieces is being multiplied by 3. They've all become 3. So I now have 6 shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, my denominator also got split because I split these 2 that were shaded. My denominator is everything. And then the ones that weren't shaded also got split 3 ways. So I now have 9. And of course, now you can see I have 6 9s. Now I could do a different one. So I'm going to draw 2/3 again. And many times I'll ask the boys and girls to show me 2 different ways, 2 equivalent fractions. So here's my 2/3 again. This time let's split it 5 ways. So I'm going to split it 5/5. Okay? So I'm going to split it like a brownie. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can see I didn't add any parts. I didn't take any parts away. The same amount is still shaded. We just have more pieces, and they're smaller. And so because each of these 2 shaded parts got split 5 ways each, there's now 10 shaded. And of course, well, there's my big 1. And then of course, all of the pieces went from 3. And now there's 15 because each of those 3 parts, total parts, got split 5 ways, and I have 10/15. This is how they should be drawing their drawings for equivalent fractions.